If there are particular games out there that you enjoy that are technically a simulator, so to speak, I'm wondering what they are and what you enjoy from them.
Podcast simulator.
Podcast simulator. We do that every week. So, Alex, have you ever considered that we live in a simulation?
Yeah, and now I've got some existential dread. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, segment over. No, well, it seems like the word simulator ends up on a lot of video games lately. And
in general, it's a very large genre.
It is, and it's
The
so
Sims
yes.
is a life simulator.
They're so all over the place that I'd like to try and figure out a way to like wrap my head around it, because there are simulators that feel like actual simulators. They're like Flight Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yep, I have Elite Dangerous, which you know about, which is a kind of a flight sim, but also a space sim. It also, there is a background simulation in the game that is extensively huge, for different faction powers, trading, all that stuff that goes on that you don't even really pay attention to unless you want to.
Right, yeah. And then you have, like, the Surgeon Simulator and the Goat Simulator.
Which is great.
Yes.
Which is less great. Surgeon Simulator is fantastic.
Surgeon Simulator is fascinating, only because I don't know why I can't, like, control my hand the way I want to control my hand.
On that note, have you ever seen Hand Simulator?
No.
I'm going to share a video with you later. And
okay.
It's going to crack you up.
That's perfect. On a similar note, Goat Simulator, Deer Simulator. What was the one that just came? Oh, yeah, we had Lawnmower and Power Wash Simulator.
And Viscera Cleanup Detail, which is also a cleaning simulator.
Yeah.
And then Farming Sim.
Farming Simulator, yeah.
Sim City, which is a city sim, or colony. And then RimWorld is a colony sim. Dwarf Fortress is a colony sim.
Yeah.
There's a lot of simulation games of different types.
Yeah. To try and narrow focus, though, I wanted to concentrate on ones that specifically say that they're a simulator in the title, because otherwise we're going to go way off rail. My thought process is when you say that I want to have a game and I want to call it a simulator, and I want it to have it in the title, like this is Power Wash Simulator. What is the expectation that you have when you hear that word?
Me being a power washer.
That you actually have the intention of going through the performance of doing the thing, right?
Yeah, I am the thing. I'm simulating... No, I'm not being the thing, but yes. Power Wash Simulator, I assume it is me with a power washer. And I do have the games, so that is what it is.
Yes, exactly. And Lawnmower Simulator, I figure I'm going to be mowing lawns. And Flight Simulator, I'm going to assume that this is fairly realistic in terms of how the flight controls on a plane work, and that when I push buttons, it would do basically the same thing as it does in real life, were I to be controlling a plane. Now, that's interesting. I have heard about, like, actual pilots that have played Flight Simulator, and it's kind of fascinating to watch when people actually know what they're doing.
I like it when they have the full setup of the joysticks and everything, but again, American Truck Simulator or Euro Truck Simulator.
Oh, yeah.
And those ones are more in-depth when you actually have the wheel, the sticks, the pedals. Again, I could get these things for Elite Dangerous, but I don't have the kind of money to blow on that kind of peripheries.
Oh my god, do you remember...
Nor do I think I'd want to.
Yeah. Do you remember when they had, what was it, Mech Warrior, or one of those games, where there was like a $200 control setup that was specifically for the game back on, like, the Xbox? And it had like a ton of buttons on it. I can't even remember. Battle Mech or something like that. I gotta find that game. But it's... I was sitting there kind of thinking to myself, wow, that's a lot of money to blow on the one game to play. Luckily, they made a sequel, so then you could play two separate games on that one thing that you... But, usually when I think about simulators, I do think about the experience of actually going through that activity, whatever that activity may be.
Surgery.
Yeah, except that then you get to ones like Surgeon Simulator, which, let's face it, is incredibly unrealistic to actual surgery. You know.
What about Spore?
Spore? I mean, I don't think Spore is realistic in any...
No, but it was a simulator of multiple types.
Of multiple types, yeah. None of them, though, I would really consider to be simi... I don't even know if they really planned on it being in that simulator realm. I don't know.
And then you get factory sims, where you set up factory and logistic stuff.
You do. So there are those. And then you have like, what was the one that we just played not too long ago? 100 Days? The one where we had the one...
winemaking simulator?
Yeah. But again, like, that's all based on like putting blocks down for organizational stuff, and that's not particularly realistic. I always feel like there's always something that they miss in terms of the mechanics behind it. Either it's like, oh, you had help, you didn't really pay them, or oh, you might want to eat, or you might like something that they missed, like going and fueling up your farming equipment after you do the farm part, you know. Now that will be $35 now, please, whatever, in order to fill that up. There's always things that seem like they are missing out of that. But I then find it really fascinating after doing the simulators where they're trying to be realistic to it. PC Simulator, where you actually
Build a PC.
Yeah, PC building simulator, yeah. Where it's like, you're going to unscrew all of these, you're going to unscrew this part, you're going to dust this out, you're going to put this back in, where it's like, oh, I get the ins and outs. Like, I feel like I actually learned something about building a PC after playing PC building simulator. Like, oh, I see where everything goes in these setups. Yeah. And then Goat Simulator comes along. And now we're into demon goats that fly around on jetpacks and can use their tongue as an ancillary tool to maneuver around the world. Or Deer Simulator, where I am literally a deer with like jet boots, shooting guns at like a giant moray eel that's coming out of a top of a building.
Well, if you wanted to put it that way too, you could probably consider Grand Theft Auto to be a simulator of sorts.
I would never do that. I would never consider Grand Theft Auto to be a simulator.
I mean, I am ping a criminal. I'm simulating my life as a criminal.
That's true.
I assume you're a criminal in all of them.
That's, yes. How many Grand Theft Auto games have you played?
4? Not all of them.
Because I'm trying to go through it myself, and I'm thinking, yes. I believe in every single one, the protagonist or protagonists were criminals.
I have not played one since San Andreas.
Not since San Andreas. Oh, were you playing the old school ones, like the top-down ones?
San Andreas was, like, third person.
No, I'm just saying if you're
played the top-down ones
4 or
too.
5. Okay, so
I haven't played 4 or 5.
You haven't played
San
4
Andreas
or 5.
is GTA 3.
Well, GTA 3, and then you had Vice City and San Andreas.
Vice City was a step back.
I liked Vice City, but I get what you're saying.
Vice City was terrible because you went from San Andreas, which was great.
Oh, San Andreas came after.
Yeah. Well,
San Andreas came after Vice City.
No, like Liberty City Stories.
Oh, okay.
Which was just GTA 3 with a different protagonist and like added motorcycles.
Sure. Yes.
But 3 and then San Andreas came out. San Andreas was good.
Right. Well,
anyways.
No. Vice
anyways,
City
we're not talking about GTA.
Andreas, but at any rate, no, I played 3 Vice City, San Andreas, 4, and 5.
Sure.
And so, if I remember correctly, yes, every single one of them, you play a criminal. And in 5, you actually technically play 3 criminals. So hey, there's that. And you get to flip between the criminals, so that's always fun. And GTA 6 is going to be about where you play criminals, so I do know that much about
Anyways.
Anywho, but what you're basically saying is that almost any game is a simulation of something.
No, I think I think we could break it down to like 3 specific types of simulators
Yes, I
or
would like to
games
do
we
that.
would. Okay, so the first one is
Okay.
pretty straightforward. It is a job simulator.
Yes, and it's meant to be realistic.
It is meant to be at least somewhat realistic. Power Wash Simulator, Viscera Cleanup Detail, where you're cleaning, again, somewhat realistic to cleaning up,
Yeah.
albeit not entirely because it's ridiculous, but it's still a thing you're cleaning.
Flight simulator.
Farming Simulator, Flight Simulator,
yeah.
Elite Dangerous, again, I would put into the more realistic but also fantastical because flight sim but space, so it's
Right.
sci-fi, but it is a simulator.
Okay.
So games like that, Job Simulator, those things.
Sure.
Those are job simulators, I would say.
Okay.
You have, let's say, I'll call it a whimsical simulator.
Okay.
That's the word I'll use because Deer Simulator and Goat Simulator would fall into this category.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not, I think, what we'd consider a simulator in the same sense.
They feel more like a parody. Like
Yes.
they're a parody of the idea of simulators. They're the Dodism of simulators.
Yeah. So in that, I think you would get your Deer Simulator, your Goat Simulators.
Sure.
What else maybe your Surgeon Simulator?
I think Surgeon Simulator would have to fall into that category. Yeah.
Because again, as you said, parody. Then I mean it's
Granny
a
Simulator.
job.
We didn't even play that yet. Yeah.
Granny Simulator. Yeah. Where you play, I think that one is you play as a specific creature or role, but it is very whimsical and ridiculous.
Yes, it's supposed to be over the top, and simulator is used a little bit with a smirk. That is not really supposed to be a simulator at all, but they do call it that in order to,
Sure.
make a point. So, okay, yeah, we've got those. We've got 2 very different ends of the spectrum between realism and surrealism, basically.
Right. And then I think on the third one that I would put here, because I'm only going to do 3 unless we can think of a fourth, I would say are your life sims or your colony simulators or city simulators, which I would actually put the Sims into that because it is simulating something in life or the parts of life, or a city sim where you're building a city and that's a simulation of that, or like RimWorld Dwarf Fortress type games where you are doing a colony sim and running people's lives.
Right. I would say that that's a good category to put a lot of your, just like your cozy game kind of life sims. That would be like, we recently talked about like a Coral Island. Or,
actually, no, that can be the fourth.
That can be
that
the
would be the
fourth.
fourth.
Would be the
So you can have, sorry, you can have Job Simulator, Whimsical Simulator, your life
strategy kind of industrialist kind of
strategy or logistics simulator maybe.
Yeah.
Which are your factory games and your colony games.
Sure.
And then your cozy simulators or life sims, which are your Stardew Valley and your farming games that are more lighthearted. Coral Island, Stardew, Animal Crossing.
Right. I move to a small town and I start like building stuff, and
I moved to a small town and now I'm incredibly in debt.
It's the social simulator, I think, is a good way to put that, because you're trying to interact with the community and do things that are inside of that. Like you could say that that's kind of what it's supposed to be about. Living out those lives that we may never actually get to live, where I get to have my own land and make my own.
Or I get to be a surgeon.
Yeah. I get to be a surgeon. Well, I got to be honest with you. If I was a surgeon like I was in Surgeon Simulator, I would be very, very fired.
I suddenly want there to be a game. There is a City Planner Plays City Skylines YouTube channel.
Okay.
So it's someone who actually their job is like a city planner.
Yes.
And they're playing City Skylines.
Yes.
It's a thing. They have a lot of subs. It's very interesting.
Yes.
I would like to see a surgeon
playing
Play Surgeon Simulator.
to see if they could actually do the Surgeon Simulator.
Just to see what they think of it.
Yes.
I may have to ask our brand designer to ask their mom.
Yeah, see if we can get that recorded for a thing.
I don't think it'll happen, but if it does,
that's
happy birthday.
Yeah, that's lovely. If something is going to be a simulator, which one of these 4 do you personally like the most?
If only one of the 4 is going to be called a simulator?
Yeah. There can be only one. Highlander.
Probably Job Simulator.
Job Simulator, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mind the other ones existing, but I do think that if you're going to call it a simulator, it would at least be nice to know that it is attempting it. Which is something. I mean, I guess that's why they have the caveats at the beginning that this is a life simulator or that this is, a something simulator in order to make that clear. But, yeah, I would probably be in the same camp. When I see simulator on a game, my initial thought is, oh, this is going to be very detailed, very mechanically rich, and it's going to ask a lot of me in order to perform the task at hand.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
On the note of simulators, if you are a fan of simulator games, I have a YouTube channel to suggest to you that is not the City Planner Plays City Skylines, which may not be the name of that channel. I'm sorry for that guy that I'm not plugging very well. Anyways, let's game it out.
Yes.
A fantastic trip into simulator mayhem these days. Josh absolutely destroys games.
Yes.
If you haven't seen any of his videos, you probably should. They are ridiculous.
They are.
I have one I need to watch later.
Oh God. It's the hand simulator one, isn't it?
No, that's the one that you have linked to you, and it is incredibly hilarious. It's an old one. It's back when Josh still had his co-host Anthony. It was before Josh just started destroying games.
Yeah.
But it is an incredibly ridiculous one.
If there are particular games out there that you enjoy that are technically a simulator, so to speak, I'm wondering what they are and what you enjoy from them.
Podcast Simulator.
Podcast Simulator. We do that every week.
Yes.
This has got to be a game. Man, I really hope that there's a podcast simulator. I'll have to see if there's one on Steam. I bet it's really terrible.